Ever feel like there's something wrong with the way you think or how your mind works? If you've been dating an avoidant, a narcissist, a sociopath, or a psychopath, you've probably wondered that more than once. They don't have the whole market cornered on emotional dysfunction, but they do have a pretty solid share. Love is often painted as blissful, passionate, safe. But what happens when the person you fall for exists on a completely different emotional frequency? Can you relate? Tell me what you've experienced in the comments. Some people aren't just distant or self-involved. They may carry deep, unresolved wounds, attachment disorders, or personality disorders that make genuine intimacy almost impossible. Avoidants, narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths each create unique chaos, but they all share one ineffable trait. They make emotional connection a minefield. The real challenge isn't just loving them. It's trying to hold on to yourself while doing it. They can magically transform you into a sycophant without your being aware. Does any of this register with you? I'd like to hear which and why. Let's look at each type.
1. Dating an avoidant. The push-pull of emotional distance. Avoidant attachment usually begins in childhood, when emotional needs go unmet. As adults, these individuals fear vulnerability. They want connection but feel suffocated by it. So they push away the very thing they crave. If you're with an avoidant partner, you may notice a pattern. They grow distant when things get emotionally close. They downplay your needs. They shut down during conflict. And they often treat sex as something physical, stripped of deeper intimacy. Psychologically, they use what are called deactivation strategies. They mentally shut off emotions to stay in control. They fear losing themselves in closeness. And they see dependence not as human, but as weakness. The impact on you? You feel anxious, unwanted, invisible. Sometimes you walk on eggshells, hoping not to trigger their withdrawal. And even when they're beside you, it can feel lonely. What makes this so hard is the constant feeling that you're almost there, almost loved, almost safe. But intimacy stays just out of reach, like chasing a mirage.
2. Dating a narcissist. Dating a narcissist is like being caught in a carefully designed web of performance. At first, it feels amazing. The attention is intense, you feel special, seen, even adored. But that warmth has a hidden cost. Eventually, you begin to realize you aren't the point of their affection. Narcissists are masters of manipulation through charm. They can be charismatic, engaging, and magnetic, especially in the beginning. This is part of what's known as love bombing, a flood of compliments, gifts, attention, and grand gestures meant to overwhelm your defenses and fast-track emotional attachment. But over time, the mask slips. Their focus returns inward. Their partner's needs become inconveniences. The emotional intimacy threatens their control. They have little or no true empathy. Fishing for admiration and validation is constant. They're hypersensitive to criticism, real or imagined, and they blame others for their own faults and failures. Your role in the relationship becomes simple. Admire, accommodate. Do not challenge. You'll experience gaslighting. They'll twist facts, deny your reality, and make you question your sanity. You'll be devalued. Once the love bombing fades, subtle put-downs, dismissiveness, and emotional coldness creep in. They may involve others, exes, friends, or family, to keep you off balance. To them, one moment you're perfect, the next, you're the problem. This emotional whiplash keeps you hooked, always chasing a return to the good version of them.
3. Dating a sociopath.
Love without a conscience. Sociopaths, often diagnosed under antisocial personality disorder, don't feel remorse the way most people do. They break rules, cross lines, and manipulate others without guilt. They may seem charming, smooth, even magnetic. But their charm is from a toolbox, not a truth. They lie easily and constantly, without flinching,
They control situations to their advantage. They don't feel for your pain and may even justify causing it. To them, it's just part of life. They can be emotionally hollow, impulsive, and even reckless. They may say, "I love you," but it's more mimicry than meaning. Being with a sociopath is like being trapped in a psychological game where only one person knows the rules. One day they're kind, the next they're cruel, and they never explain. They just move the proverbial puzzle pieces. You're left emotionally bruised, sometimes even financially exploited, and by the time you realize what happened, the damage, well, may already be done. Have you had such an experience? Drop a short comment about it. What you say may help others as they navigate similar relationships. 4. Dating a psychopath. Cold calculation and emotional predation. Psychopaths are similar to sociopaths, but colder, more calculating. They're often calm, emotionless, and terrifyingly in control. Unlike sociopaths, they don't lash out impulsively. They plan. They study you, your likes, your fears, your values. Then they mirror them back to you. Not out of connection, but out of strategy. At first, they seem perfect. You've never felt so seen. But that's because they're wearing your reflection. They isolate you. They manipulate you. They exploit your every vulnerability. And when they leave, if they leave, it's ice cold. No closure. No remorse. Just silence. What they leave behind is confusion, betrayal, and emotional collapse. You wonder if the relationship even happened. You doubt your judgment, your reality, sometimes your worth. It's not just a breakup. It's psychological destruction. 5. Shared wounds across all 4 types. Though avoidants, narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths differ in behavior, the damage they cause often looks similar. First, the emotional roller coaster. You're pulled close, then pushed away. Moments of affection are followed by silence or cruelty. This unpredictable pattern creates something known as trauma bonding, an emotional addiction that feels impossible to escape. Next, the gaslighting. They deny what they said. They rewrite history. They shift blame. Eventually, you doubt your own memory, your feelings, even your sanity. Then comes isolation. They might distance you from friends and family, either subtly or aggressively. You become emotionally dependent on someone who doesn't truly care. And slowly, you lose your sense of self. You adjust your words. You mute your needs. You become a shapeshifter to survive. Yeah, this makes sense to you. I get it. 6. Why people stay. Trauma bonds and the illusion of hope. One of the hardest questions people ask themselves is, why didn't I leave sooner? The answer lies in trauma bonding. When abuse is mixed with affection, your nervous system gets confused. Love becomes something you earn through suffering. You begin to believe that if you just hold on a little longer, if you just love harder, they'll change. And there are other reasons too. The fear of being alone, the erosion of self-esteem, an emotional addiction to chaos, the belief that this is the best you'll ever get, and the shame, deep, paralyzing shame for staying so long. But none of that makes you weak. It makes you human. 7. Conclusion. Protecting what's left of you. Loving someone who's emotionally unavailable, manipulative, or empty inside can be one of the most painful experiences in life. You don't just lose time. You lose trust. You lose yourself. What starts as passion often ends in quiet devastation. But healing is possible. The first step is understanding. The second is self-compassion. You stayed because you loved. You hoped because you believed. Now you grow because you know. Healthy love doesn't feel like confusion. It's not a riddle to solve, a battle to win, or a person to fix. If love feels like war, you may be loving someone emotionally unreachable.
And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away with what's left of your heart and identity, then rebuild.
8. A final note from my heart. It's dicey finding a partner who you can rely on for the long haul. This is corroborated by the statistics. Divorce is around 50%. In order to brighten your future, it's imperative that you carry on at least a 1-year interview. 2 years is better. This isn't a year of questions and answers, rather a year of observing. The door lock test is telling from Movie A Bronx Tale. Since door locks are mostly by remote, that test might not work. Still, you can observe in other ways. One of the most important tells is to watch how they treat their parents. Does the woman treat her dad with respect, disrespect, or even contempt? That's how she'll treat you. She's wired for it. Does the man treat his mom and sisters with respect, disrespect, or even contempt? That's how he'll treat you. He too is wired for it. Exceptions to this are rare and would otherwise be your undoing. Be wary, be smart, make good decisions. Unfaithfulness is one of the greatest heartbreaks in a broken trust. Ask me how I know. Don't take this to be casting aspersions on anyone. Many who display these toxic behaviors haven't an idea that there's a problem. Some do and will pursue professional help. Most won't. Don't take that chance. See the results first. Don't just hear the words. Like, comment, subscribe.